Welcome back to another episode of Good Enough and Minis. I'm your host, John Does Warhammer. So with the release of the Ratlings Kill Team, the team allows you to take some Bullgryns, and of course, they weren't in the box, so I went out and bought my own box of Bullgryns and started putting them together. The idea behind this paint scheme was to do the sort of color scheme that they have in Warhammer Darktide with the rejects, I believe they're called. So, you know, just black armor, red undershirt, pretty simple design. So first thing that I'm doing is that I'm covering the entire model in Abaddon Black, because if you don't know this, the primer that GW sells is a different black than Abaddon Black. So if I do make a mistake, I need to apply black on an area, it's going to look a little out of place. So just covering the whole model in Abaddon Black. Once that's done, I immediately start working on the skin, and for this one I went with Catachan Flesh. Catachan Flesh is quickly becoming one of my favorite skin colors that GW sells. It just works so well, it covers perfectly, can't complain. Now there are a few details that I want red, like the undershirt under his armor here. I don't know if this was supposed to be the Inquisition's icon, but I thought it would look good red, so I painted it red. So right here, I accidentally shot it off the handle and got some red paint on the shoulder. So I'm going to show you a quick way how you can fix that. Is that you quickly get the paint off your brush and just start applying water to the area, and then you dry off the brush and start picking up the paint, dry it off again, and then you just continuously go back and forth, pick up the paint, dry off the brush, pick it up, dry it off. And of course, it's going to leave a little bit of a stain there, so this is where the Abaddon Black is coming back into play. So I'll just cover that area of the armor in black again, and it'll be like nothing even happened. I wasn't sure what to do for the pants color, so I just said, just make it gray. And so I'm using Mechanicus Standard Grey from Citadel, just going all over his trousers. You could have easily just left the pants black as well, but I'm already keeping his boots black and his armor being black. I thought there's just too much black on the model. Also went around and picked out the belt loops around his waist as well. Alright, so we're going to break out our first metallic paint here. We got Leadbelcher for all the metal armor on his boots here. As well as some rivets I picked out on the frontal plate of the armor, just to kind of break up all that black. Once that is done, I start base coating the weapon itself. I just focused on the handle, as well as, if you look at the model itself, there's these power sources, I guess, for like electricity that I painted Leadbelcher as well. I wouldn't be too worried about being neat in that area because we'll go back and clean it up. And then I did the outline of the shield as well. So for the symbol on his armor here, I went with Liquid Gold by Vallejo, and it's a fine paint. It's fine. I think Retributor Armor Gold from Citadel would work just as well, but hey, if you want to try a different paint, then I guess Liquid Gold is okay. Now for the symbol on the shield, I wanted it to be white, so we're going to go back to Mechanicus Standard Grey and base coat it all in just gray. When it comes to painting pure white, it's really good idea to keep to start with gray and then slowly work your way up to it. Of course, this is a speed painting tutorial, so we're going to skip a few steps and just go straight to white later on. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but don't forget to use Mechanicus Standard Grey on his facial hair. And then I'm just using the Khorne Red from earlier to pick out some of the cables on his cybernetics and his weapon. So right here I am using some Waagh Flesh to base coat the tops of his weapon here. And this is where you can start cleaning up that Leadbelcher if you painted the arc pylons on the side. And then lastly, for his cybernetics there on his face, on his eyeball, I used Balthasar Gold. And now that everything is dry, we're going to hit it with a wash. I went with Agrax Earthshade. I still had the old formula that they used to produce before they redid it, I think about 2 years ago. And this stuff is amazing. I really wish Citadel would go back to their old formula. Probably never going to happen. So if you're ever in like some hobby shop and you see the old Earthshade, go ahead and pick up one for yourself. You won't regret it. So you're just going to get it all over the model. Make sure not too much is pulling in one area, but you do want to get it over the entire figure. This stuff goes on perfectly, dries perfectly. It used to be called liquid talent in a bottle, so there's a reason for that. And while we wait for that to dry, we can thank today's sponsor, me. I'm sponsoring myself here. I put a lot of work into these videos, and I really do appreciate all the likes, subscribes that I get. So if you're enjoying this video, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help. And be sure to follow me on Instagram as well. Link in the description. So we're going back to the Catachan Flesh here, and all we're going to do is repaint over the muscles, all the flat surfaces, and skipping any crevices in between, like say the forearm and his bicep here. What this is going to do is create further illusion of shadows and make those creases pop out a little bit more to really show off the muscles on the model. Of course, you could just leave the model as is after the shading is done. I think it looks great. But with my kill teams, I like to do just a little bit more details because you're not going for an entire army. You only need like 10 models. So I can spend a little bit more time on each one. So when you get to the fingers here, like me, I would recommend using a smaller brush. I am just too lazy to grab one. I've been using the same one this entire time, but it would have made my life a lot easier. And once again, once you get to the face, I recommend using a smaller brush, but because I'm too lazy, using the same one. Still working out the camera angles here. I've been trying to like research some like better camera equipment, but I just cannot justify the price unless I get a little bit more subscribers. That maybe I'll think about it. Right, so we are going to finish off the decals on his shield here. So like I said earlier, when you're doing white, you want to build up to white from Mechanicus Standard Grey. So I would recommend doing Dawnstone first and then Grey Seer, but because I'm trying to get these guys done as fast as possible, I am just going to skip straight to Grey Seer and just do the highlights on the flat surfaces here, leaving any of the dark recesses still shaded. And while Grey Seer isn't like a pure white, I still think it works good enough for a white without all the hassle that comes with it. In the last video, I used matte white on my Christmas goblins, which by the way, go check out that video. And I probably should have used Grey Seer, but hey, it is what it is. And finally, I'm going to use the Grey Seer on his facial hair. You could keep it gray if you wanted to, but I really wanted this guy to look old and grizzled. So I went ahead and just gave him some white hair here, which I think stands out great with the darker flesh tones. Mustache you can see for miles. And that, folks, is that. And you can see on this close-up, I did add some decals from transfers, as well as, I forgot to record it, but I painted in his little tattoo, or I don't know if that's supposed to be a branding or something on his arm. I went ahead and did that as well. It's not the perfect paint job. It's not going to win us any awards, but it will get our models on the table as soon as possible. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. Send it to your buddy who's making his own Ratlings Kill Team. I'm sure this will help them out. Thanks everybody. See you next time.